Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming out. A lot of faces from yesterday. I applaud your stamina because I know it's 2 long days and we're discussing an awful lot within those days. So I just wanted to welcome you and the new faces to the Cyprus Centre at London Metropolitan University. I think we're in for some good talks again today. And without any further ado, I know we're running slightly late already. I'm going to pass you over to the chair for the day, who is Mr. Andrew Wright. Just before Andrew starts, or while Andrew is coming, does anyone need a programme? Because I think that they're a bit hidden away. If anyone needs a programme, I'll just pass those out. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, good morning. It's my pleasure to chair these 2 sessions. I have to say, when I saw what I'd been put down to chair, women of Cyprus and women for Cyprus, I was a little nervous. No, that's not true. I was very nervous, very worried. Am I the right gender? Because if you haven't noticed already, I am male. However, I thought, well, we can debate that in private sometime. And I always have to, and it's my pleasure to contribute to these conferences, so chairing is something I can do. And I think my trump card is that I was scheduled to do it, and scheduled to do it by somebody who was a woman. Still is. Yes. So, without further ado, my pleasure to introduce Nora Hadjisotiriou, who was born in Famagusta. She is a marketing and PR consultant, owner and director of NHC Hadjisotiriou Consultants, Atlantis Productions, Promotechni, Director of Art and Office, and Destination Dynamics, organiser of conferences. You organise things with background percussion like yesterday? Without further ado, Nora.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to say thank you very much to Alicia and John for inviting me to take part in this conference and to say what an excellent conference it was yesterday. Sorry, I left my pieces of paper. I shall talk to you about Stella Soulioti, which I think is probably one of the most interesting women of Cyprus. Stella Soulioti. The first woman barrister in Cyprus. The world, according to Bolivan Delivis, and Cyprus's first justice minister. The first and only female Attorney General of the Republic. The island's first law commissioner. The first Cypriot woman to join the RAF in the Second World War. She was the president of the Cyprus Red Cross Society, a member of the UNESCO Executive Board. Stella Soulioti shattered the glass ceiling which hampered professional women in Cyprus. Stella Soulioti was born in 1920 in Limassol. She was one of 4 children of Angeliki Eftivoulou and Panagiotis Kakoyannis. Her father was knighted by the British government in 1936, serving as a lawyer and a public servant. Her 2 brothers were director Michael Kakoyannis and the lawyer George Rogos Kakoyannis. Her sister, Yanula Kakoyannis Wakefield, heads the Michael Kakoyannis Foundation in Athens. She has a daughter, Alicia, who is a doctor, and 2 grandchildren, Gibson and Snowden, who live in London. Her family could have ensured a comfortable life in a good marriage for her, as was the norm in her time. But her thirst for education, her independence and forward-looking spirit led her to a good education and open horizons, something that she always attributed to her progressive parents. Her first diploma was on secretarial studies from London. She was the first woman to work in an office in Nicosia as a secretary, something that she always mentioned with pride. Following the end of World War II, she wanted to study history, but for practical reasons she studied law. In 1960, and obviously she was the first woman barrister in Cyprus, In 1960, she was invited by the President, Archbishop Magarios III, to join his cabinet as the Minister of Justice, where she served for 10 years. During that period, she also served as Minister of Health for 2 years. Sorry, I want to go back. This is there. As Minister of Justice, she laid the foundations for adopting principles and procedures of operation of the newly established republic. She was the only woman in a purely male-dominated cabinet. She was accepted as a prominent personality. Former President of the Republic, Tassos Papadopoulos, who was minister during the same period of time, repeatedly referred and characterized her as the best ever Minister of Cyprus. She was the initiator and the first law commissioner. She was an advisor to the President of the Republic on intra-community conversations and generally in the management of political problems until she retired. Her ordinariness and her passion for archiving, and maybe her appeal to history, led her to own the most important, highly organized file data policies of the Republic of Cyprus, which were the primary source for the 2-volume book of history, Cyprus Independence File, 1878-1964. The original documents were subsequently bequeathed to the University of Cyprus. She was the president of the Cyprus Red Cross Society for over 4 decades. The Turkish invasion in 1974 left the country disorganized, and she took over the humanitarian work on the basis of the principles of legality. Citing the Geneva Conventions, she managed to ensure the descent in Cyprus squads of International Red Cross and United Nations High Commission for Refugees personnel and help. She coordinated this foreign assistance, which through her actions started arriving in Cyprus from day 2. She organized assistance for the enclave, the evacuees, and the released prisoners of war. She laid the foundation of the social services, the displaced persons restoration services, and the service of finding missing persons. At a mature age, she was named an honorary Doctor of Law at the University of Nottingham and a visiting fellow at the University of Cambridge. In March 2010, she was presented with the Madame Figaro Honorary Award for the total sum of her contribution to Cyprus. She died on the 2nd of November 2012. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nora. There will be an opportunity for discussion of the 3 speakers' presentation, session 1, at the end of the 3rd speaker's presentation.